And our guest today is a guitar player for Bad Wolves and Ex God Forbid. He's also the host of the X Man podcast, which is excellent, so go check it out. It was a real pleasure to finally sit down and chat with him. He's very intelligent and did a great job of carrying this conversation, which mortified me. But if you're listening or watching this, I really hope that you feel like you're in the same room during this conversation. So that's what I'm trying to convey through the mics and the cameras here. So anyway, hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. Please welcome Dot Coyle. Dot,
What's up?
what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right down in where are we in Corona?
Corona, California, hometown.
I know this is where the magic happens. I imagine.
Yeah, yeah. The first time I saw you was down the street. I'm not sure what year it was, maybe 2004 or three. God forbid was playing Showcase. It's down the street here, and I believe that was the first show. I could be wrong. That the first show Mark came out and saw us at.
But you guys were playing, right? You were opening up
Yeah,
for us.
yeah. We were opening up for you guys, and we were stoked. And I think that was the first time Mark saw us. So you kind of this. You brought us together.
Which show? Because we played there a few times. I mean, we did the show. I think it was us, Caliban, It Dies Today, Full Blown Chaos, and then there was another one before that with us and Remembering Never.
That's it.
Okay,
That's
that one.
it. Remember never. What year was that?
Ugh. I want to say 2006, 2007, something like that. It all starts to blend together.
It does.
It might even be 2005, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of these, when you're not from an area, and then you go there and you play there, you don't really have a concept of where things are. Like I was like, oh, we're playing SoCal somewhere, so I didn't know
Yeah.
what Corona was in relation to
Totally.
LA or any of this stuff. But places like that, people seem to be into it. So we were very happy to just have anyone show up and be down with our band at that time. It was cool.
Yeah. It was definitely before 2006. I want to say it was '04.
Yeah, you know what? You're
Dude.
probably right.
Was 16, 17 years ago, I want to say.
That's right. Don't let the numbers scare you. All right, that's us. We're getting old, man.
No. I realized that the older numbers make you younger. It makes you more experienced.
Yeah, well, I just think it gives you more perspective on how quickly time seems to move, or
Yeah.
kind of vice versa. Things go move fast, but it feels like forever ago, but it also feels like yesterday, and it's a very strange phenomenon. And I think one of the kind of fallacies about being a young person is, I don't know, just thinking that things will just be that way forever, and they just won't. And it's just,
Yeah.
and accepting that and knowing, hey, things are going to change constantly, and that's what life is going to keep throwing at you. I used to think things were cyclical. I'm like, nope, it's just one road with different winds and keeps changing, you know?
Yeah, things keep changing. And throughout your career, you definitely had a lot of wines, a lot of
I'm still weaving.
still weaving, dude. But I was just thinking about this. You've done a great job at, no matter what was thrown at you, you really adapt very well, and actually thrive in it. It seems.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for the most part, though, a lot of these things have been self-imposed. You know, it's like, I quit, God forbid. And so when you make an active decision, it allows you kind of that ability to accept whatever challenges are kind of gonna deal with that, as opposed to like you're in a band and it breaks up, or
Yeah.
you're doing something and something kind of sideswipes you. I decided to move to California, to LA without much of a plan, and you know, so I think when you take that kind of ownership over your destiny to some degree, you can really embrace challenges. I think sometimes, you know, during the course of God forbid's career, when maybe a certain thing wouldn't go our way, and you had expectations thing A was going to happen, but thing B happened, and that lack of experience and lack of perspective is difficult to deal with. But I think I don't know. I feel like for the most part, I've had I've been an active participant in making things happen.
True. You put in the work, behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think that's a little overblown though, because I'm like, I feel like most people work hard. I mean, we can all probably look at some of the, like when we were coming up, right, in the local bands that were peers with us, where you could see like you guys got to another level because you were willing to go to a certain level that other people weren't. You were this level of dedication, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's easy to see, but once you get to a certain level, I do think a lot of people are working hard. I think a lot of it is just about, I don't know. The older I get, the more I start to think, I'm just like, maybe it is just luck. Maybe it is the right place, right time, because I see, especially like in this time period we're in, where so many people are like you, right? They're creating content. They're on TikTok. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitch. Everyone's really taking their career in their own hands. And I see people, and every day I'm like, man, I'm not hustling like that guy, like that girl. They're grinding, and it's inspirational, but at the same time, it's also like, you better have what it takes, or this whole thing will kind of pass you by.
Totally. It's funny how we always feel that I'm not doing enough, no matter what you do.
Yep.
And then you always feel that you're not hustling, because you have that natural feel of like, I'm not doing enough, because you see this person's like they're, but we forget we're doing a lot. And especially for me, I could be an outsider telling you from my perspective, man, Doc's doing a lot.
Yeah,
He's doing a lot, and that inspires me. But to you, it probably seems like you're not doing enough, which is I think a very healthy way to view that.
Well, I think social media is a great way to kind of advertise what you're doing and making it maybe look like you're doing more. But of course, and we've both been involved in this. Well, let's say you're working on a record, right?
Yeah.
But maybe that process isn't public. Like the band has maybe made a decision where it's like we're not going to have a live stream every day, or we're not going to post pictures from rehearsal to the studio every day. So people don't really know what's happening. And in that many ways, it's kind of, like, in the Arctic, there's like a, what are those things called? The iceberg. That's what it's called, like the lettuce. It's like an iceberg where people only see the top, but underneath it, there's a lot going on.
So much going on.
But there were things like when I first moved to LA where I was working on stuff, but I wasn't doing a ton of stuff. So anytime I did anything cool, I would portray it in a way on social media to make it look like I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I think there is a little trickery there, I think, beyond just what I'm doing, you have to kind of sell yourself at large that, hey, I'm out there. I'm doing things. I'm making things happen.
Yeah. You know what? I wasn't planning to ask you this until like hour in the conversation, but since we're on it, what's your take on sacrifice versus hustle?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I've been going through some difficult times in my life recently in terms of trying to like mature, right? And see if I can move to the next phase of life, whatever that is. And maybe that's buying a house or having children or getting married, to these things. And I have a difficult time grasping those things, because to me, it's like, if you want to make it, you can't worry about any of that shit. You have to, like, my whole life it's been, no, it's just about the band. It's just about doing these things. And I don't know, to some degree, I think maybe a piece of that ambition has made me a little bit dysfunctional to like accept normal things. Like, I think for a lot of people, those are the things that they want. And for me, in many ways, they scare me, because it's like, well, if I do that, then I can't do this. And maybe that's not true, but somewhere deep down inside. So I guess what I'm saying is, I think to get to a lot of these places, I equate it with sacrifice. But I don't know, but that sacrifice, I don't know, like, it's, I guess what someone else's dream is someone else's nightmare. And so
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm just institutionalized in a sense by this lifestyle where it's like, but because it's like I feel like I know how to do this. And so when I'm working on this stuff, I'm working on music or I'm working on my podcast or I'm writing songs or just being creative, it feels like this is where I'm comfortable, this is where I'm home. And then it's in the normal world, it's like, hey, we got to go deal with taxes. We got to go to the DMV. Like all that stuff feels like I don't even want to deal with any of this. Can I just go back in the cave and work and be, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel detached from a lot of normal day-to-day things that I don't know, it's a tough thing kind of psychologically that I'm trying to work through right now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to balance like, what, especially with, in our age and when you hit 30s, you start thinking about like the house and
How old are you?
35.
35, all right.
Yeah.
Young buck, baby.
Yeah.
I just turned 40.
Attaboy.
That's right.
I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about 45. It's a difficult age because then you can't help but think about those things.
Yeah,
you know?
35 is a tough one because I think you're right in between that idea of there's a lot of societal expectation. Oh, at this age, I should be doing this. At this
Totally.
age, I should have this. And
Totally.
because, like you said, the sacrifices we make, instead of, maybe doing a normal job or doing these things, you and I, we were on the road, we were grinding. And when you do that and you're trying to make the next best record or do the best show, you have tunnel vision.
Yeah, you do.
And you don't see any of this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, you hit that age of 30, you hit that, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, like what happened? Like all this stuff passed me by, and for me at least, I don't want to put that on you, but for me, I feel like I'm always playing catch up, or I'm always a little bit behind of what that kind of arrested development thing. I've come to grips with it. Like I don't beat myself up over it, or I don't go like, well, I suck because of this, or I'm inadequate because of this. But people around you might feel like maybe you're not up to snuff, and that kind of external pressure can be difficult to deal with, especially if you care about those people and you care about what they think of you.
Oh, okay. So maybe like the external pressure is coming from people that you actually value their opinion.
Of course. Well, I think through life we have to be able to take constructive criticism and say, okay, am I being stubborn? Right? Like, am I just being stuck in my ways, or am my instincts good? And you constantly have to kind of look inward and be self-reflective. And because if you start from that point of, I'm always right, I got to figure it out, then I think that's, you're going to run in a lot of trouble there. So you constantly, even if maybe you are right, you at least have to go through the work of the thought process or bouncing off the idea of friends and, hey, what do you think about this? Am I a weirdo? And sometimes your friends go, yeah, you're being a fucking weirdo. Get your shit together. Sometimes it's like those just grow up moments, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those are tough. Just like you were just saying, like, I got to do my taxes. I got to do all these things that feel still very foreign to you.
I mean, it's not foreign, but it's through gritted teeth.
Yeah.
I know what I hate. One of my least favorite things in the world to do is like, when you have to just deal with some things, right? Maybe it's like calling the doctor or dealing with your car, and you just, you're gonna have to go call up a number, deal with like a automated system, wait on hold, and like that is hell to me. The idea of like, press this number, press 1 if you'd like to talk to this. Can you say what your problem is? Like, that's hell for me. And when you have 15 things like that to do, it's like, I'm like, is this what normal life is? Is this what people do? I'm like, no, I can't. And paperwork. Once you're in a band and you're on the road and you get to not fill out paperwork for a while, unless sometimes if like you don't have a tour manager, you got to go fill out that form when you get the check or something. But other than that, you kind of get away from paperwork. So
yeah,
that's the thing. You get back to filling out a lot of paperwork. You're just like, man, this is real life, and it's not always fun.
Yeah. But even though there's we get opinions from people that actually truly care about us and have your best interests in mind, do you think even which you get with age too, like is what they're saying 100% true? And do you put pressure on yourself?
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's if you have people close to you, friends, family, if you value their opinion and you respect what they have to say, then you have to take it to heart. And like I said, there's some times where you're going to do the work, you'll think about it and go, no, I think my instincts were correct here, and you have to figure out that. And I always say, as I get older, people need to understand the difference that some things are not right and wrong. They're just different, right? Your way, my way, we don't have to be, you're right. Or sometimes some things are, hey, maybe you're 60% right, I'm 40% wrong. Or you're 60% right, I'm 40% right.
Yeah.
But, or 55-45 or whatever, where we both have a point, you know? But sometimes you just have to go, okay, more than likely, I'm not going to convince you, you're not going to convince me. And you just got to, all right, agree to disagree and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But I think some people, the prism with which they look at the world is through of there are the good guys over here and the bad guys over here. And clearly I'm a good guy because I'm me.
Yeah.
And I think that can really make navigating human relationships and comprehending some of these things, I think it can make a lot of that really difficult.
It is, huh?
Yeah, of course. And but it's something I think about all the time, right? I always try to, in a sense, maybe from like a social or political standpoint, for example, if there's someone I disagree with, I try to understand at least where they're coming from. You know?
Yeah, it's huge.
So, yeah, listen, I think the best thing about times when maybe you're having a rough go of it or whatever, those are the times when you kind of can grow the most. You learn the most. You can go, hey, I'm kind of fucking up right now. So maybe let me read this book about why I'm fucking up.
Yeah.
Right. So those are for me have been some of the best times to reflect.
Yeah. It sounds like you're taking ownership.
Listen, I'm trying. Listen.
Trying.
I don't want to be the humble brag guy, the guy that's like got it figured out. Because I've, in the last year, I've lost both my parents. Badwell's gone through the singer switch thing.
Yeah.
And everything that has to do with COVID and lockdown and so many things, right? It's been a very, very challenging period of time. But I always say, whatever I'm going through, whether you're going through, there's always someone who's dealing with a lot worse circumstances, and you just got to get through it, and listen, it's been rough for me lately, mentally, emotionally, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's not about sitting there. I think the worst thing we can do is sitting there pretending like we got it all figured out. I'm fine.
True.
I'm good. But I mean, dudes, a lot of us tend to do that, right? We all need to find healthy ways to express our lack of being perfectly okay at any given time. So that's something I'm trying to figure out, as well, and work through that. Be able to say, hey, I'm not doing the best right now, but even that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're right. When you try to put like the face on that you're all right when you're not, you learn that with age. It's like, oh, that's not the way to do it.
No, because it's whack-a-mole, right? You shove it down here, it pops up over here. It'll
manifest somewhere else.
Of course, it all. It's a cliche, but either you deal with your shit or your shit deals with you, one way or another.
Yeah, at some point, could be same day or a year after. And it's usually towards the people that you care about the most.
Exactly.
Yeah. could be family, band members.
Oh, listen, and that's something, with Badwell, something we've been dealing with in terms of through a time of adversity, figuring out how to balance and understand each other's particular set of issues or maybe unresolved crap, and finding ways to deal with that in a healthy way. Say, hey man, maybe you have some issue with me. Let's talk about it. Let's get through it. Let's get ahead of it. Don't wait for it to blow up.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Because
Totally.
just because you're involved in a situation that is a big change, right? Like big life changes are where the biggest stress comes from. Moving,
Yeah.
losing a loved one, a breakup, losing a job, things like all these kinds of things are paradigm shifting, and it takes us. We're creatures of comfort, and it takes us time to readjust to new normals. You've seen that with the pandemic, just people transitioning from, hey, I live my life this way every day for my whole life, and all of a sudden, I'm told don't leave the house. I'm told don't hang out with my friends. I'm told to wear this mask, and that drove people crazy.
Yeah.
And in many ways, understandably so. Now we're dealing with the reverse, where now it's take off your mask, go hang out with friends, be normal. And people are so used to the one thing that they're having a difficult time kind of uncoupling from habits. And so just any kind of life-changing evolutions, and it takes us a while to adjust. So we have to give ourselves kind of room to get ready.
Yeah, we have room and time.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, you had a rough year. It just sucks when everything kind of happens at once.
I mean, it wasn't all at once. It was consistent, but
Within a year is pretty.
yeah, it's perspective with that is a little tough, because I'll put it this way. I actually feel like through most of my life, I have not encountered a lot of tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
So in many ways, especially with regard to my parents, it's at least I got those years with my parents, right? Some people never met their parents. Some people had parents, but they beat them or were mean to them, and they had a bad relationship. So I just try and hang my hat on the elements to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And I'm, at least with regard to that, I'm not the kind of person who I think processes grief through the idea of wanting the past to come back, right? Like I don't hold on to the past. The acceptance part of it came for me pretty easy. Like this was one chapter of my life, and that's over. And just confronting that finality is something I am comfortable with. I'm comfortable with going, because I think a lot of people, I don't know, I think the biggest element of kind of just personal peace is not living in the past and not looking to the future and just being like here. That's a discipline of, a lot of meditation and mindfulness is all about. Some people just, I'm worried about what I'm doing next week, or I'm worried about planning this vacation, or what tour we're gonna go on, or what and it's like, or some dude stepped on my toe last month, or I dropped my ice cream in the ocean.
Yeah.
And just and that just puts you in this odd seesaw of not just being here. Because really there is no tomorrow, there is no yesterday, there's only now. Those are only constructs of the mind, really.
Totally. And it's hard to stay in the moment and present when you're in a band, because you can't help it. You keep looking forward.
Well, yeah, you have to. Of course, and some of that is a little esoteric. Obviously, you have to plan things. We have to get insurance so in case such and such happens, and we plan weddings, and we plan all kinds of things. We plan our retirement, things like that. I'm not trying to say I don't think about those things,
of course,
or even look towards the future. I'd say in many ways my being centered in the moment, it in some ways can be detrimental to some relationships, because some people, they need that what's in the future.
Totally.
And that again, it's not right or wrong. It's just different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's very different. Yeah, I meant like maybe subconsciously, where you're having a conversation with someone is trying to like just listen only to the words you're saying and not like the next show or like the I gotta we have practice and I gotta finish the song. Or you're just like always like in that and maybe in that way because you spent so much time in your career doing that to finally stop that. I found it's very difficult, and I don't know if it's right or wrong. If if you have that, you know, it's like is that healthy or should you stop that?
Well, I mean, listen, I think part of kind of utilizing intelligence, right, in our kind of problem solving mindset is, at least what I try and do is use my experience and then place that over the present to try and predict what will happen, right? So this is the idea of I want to prevent bad things from happening. I want to get ahead of problems before they manifest. And if you're smart enough, you have no experience, you can see all the warning signs. So when things aren't going well,
Yeah,
and so you try and get ahead of them. And so I think in many ways, that's at least the way I approach kind of these ideas within maybe a band context is going, okay, I've done this long enough to know if these certain things happen or are happening now, then it's going to lead to these bad outcomes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and, and so I think I tend to be the type person to try and heed warnings to the band or, hey, hey, John, I think if we don't do this and this probably will happen and it's not a good look. So let's try and work on that. One of the worst things to me is when something obvious is going to happen and people refuse to see the signs. And then all of a sudden it happens and then they go, didn't see that coming. Well, you weren't looking. You weren't paying attention. It's like, keep your eye on the road. Stop looking at your phone. Keep your eye on the road, people.
Keep your eye on the road. And it's tough to have those conversations. It's hard to have those tough conversations, because you want everything with the band like just to be positive, but you got to have those like moments where like, hey, we should probably talk about this. We should probably bring this up.
Yeah, I think my personality can be grating. I think sometimes within certain organizations that's primarily involved with bands, because that's what I've been doing for a long time, because I am pretty strong-headed and I do have very strong opinions about just in general the way I think maybe a band should run or a record should, maybe creatively come out. And I want to be a part of all that. And sometimes, that honesty is not always greeted warmly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can be perceived as, maybe, I don't know, bullheadedness or just, I don't know. It's just my approach could rub people the wrong way sometimes, but it's never intentional. But sometimes I feel like I'm just being assertive. Yeah. And being, and I'd rather talk about, I just don't suffer bullshit lightly. Mm-hmm. I'd rather get to the crux of a situation and talk about the blatant reality of it.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, that could rub people the wrong way.
Yeah. Sometimes and by the way, the key for me is not to be a hypocrite about it, right? So if I'm willing to be honest about maybe someone else having an issue or me having an issue with something, I also have to be willing to accept that.
Absolutely.
From other people. So I have to be consistent. It's important.
No, I think if we were in a band together, it'll be awesome.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm the same way. I want like assertive like opinions but a lot of people don't communicate that way. That's not their language. So you got to speak. It's already hard enough to talk about it. Then we have to like figure out another way to talk about that and to where, because you're talking to another human that had their life and they're not raised like you. It's like you have to like kind of, how are they going to take this? How are you going to speak to it? Or how are you going to communicate this to where you come off like like you're attention, like you're trying to come off. That's so hard, dude. I mean, I wish like I just want someone to come up to me, tell me that I'm a bitch, wake up, do it. But if I say that to someone else, Garza's the biggest dick in the world, I want to quit the band. Probably it's just someone people don't like speak like you do or think like you do. It's tough, And I think I think we would definitely get along in a band.
Well, I've had the great fortune to be in a lot of different band dynamics now.
You're right.
Where I was in one band for a long time, and since then I've played with a lot of people, and I've been in leadership positions within some of those bands, and I've been in a supplementary role in other band scenarios. And the one thing I've learned is, and I think this is applicable probably to any workplace situation where you have a group of people working together, is you have to understand that everyone has their little ticks. Everyone has their little different idiosyncrasies of their personality that you have to, so you can't really treat everyone blanket the same. You have to, if I speak to this person this way, it'll really piss them off. So I have to kind of approach this person this way. So that's something I always think about, is just trying to really fit each person's sensitivities to whichever I want, because I want band environments to be fun and comfortable, and I want everyone to be engaged and feel like we're part of a team, and we're all, if this person isn't here, then it's not going to work. If that person's not here, you want to make people feel indispensable, and I believe that it's not just it's not just some bullshit. Like, I mean, we've seen this a million times where, maybe you have a member change and it's just never the same, right? Doesn't mean it's like that person is worse, but each person is unique. Each person, like, they play the way they play, and they have whatever they bring to the table. And I always want to kind of honor that, the fundamental humanity of that.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that. And that's why at the heart of why we do it, why it feels so good to just get in a room, like to some degree, where, have you ever thought sometimes you're in a room and you're jamming or rehearsing, and you're like, this is actually better than the show?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Because it's
totally
just for you. It's just for that. And there's no validation seeking. It's just, well, you strike on these moments where, like, this is the best thing. Or just sometimes when you first get in a room and you first turn the amps up loud and you first hear that first hit.
Yeah,
like,
it's sick.
Like, oh, that's what I'm here for, baby.
Yo, that's... Yeah, and you're just like, you're having that connection with your band members. They're your brothers, or sisters. Yeah, they're your family. It's like, man, we're in a room together, and there's something happens when you're rehearsing. You're like, you kind of like lock in tighter sometimes, or maybe we're just more aware of the little details of sounds and feelings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, rehearsal. That's another thing that can piss people off, because I don't know, like, some bands or some people, they go to rehearsal and they're kind of rocking out. Me, I don't really do that. I'm just listening.
Yeah.
Especially if we're rehearsing for a tour or we're trying to make a song work. And so I can be very, like, I'm very much the guy, hey, this is this way, this, and I'm sure that gets on people's nerves sometimes.
No, it's funny. I've been struggling with that. It's like, should I rock out? Like, I'm not like go insane, but like, should I move with the music? Should I really hone in more on details? And when you just said, like, I've been struggling with that. Like, should I hone in more on details, or should I feel the music a little bit, or try to find that balance? It's tough.
Yeah, listen, I think every dynamic is different. It's like jamming with the wedding band with Kirk and Rob from Metallica.
Yeah.
Those dudes rock out at rehearsal. Like, they're just having so much fun.
Yeah.
And part of me is almost jealous. Like man, what? Because I'm so focused on just everything being right and listening. Hey, is he hitting the right note? Is that vocal harmony there? And they're just vibing. And I get a little, hopefully one day maybe I'll get there where I can just be be in the moment and not be in my like, you know, analytical mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it is a balance.
Of course, it is,
Yeah, maybe.
and the thing is, like I said, some of it is just being there and having fun and being there, and then the other element is like you're at a practice for a sports team where it's about the discipline and the rigor and we're preparing for this event.
Yeah.
But I take it really seriously.
You do.
I do.
You know, I mean, you don't get in a room with those guys if you don't take what you do extremely seriously.
Yeah, well, I just it's kind of a grand contradiction because when I was a kid, I was never that great about homework, and then once I became a musician that started playing with a lot of different people, it became the most important thing to me was showing up prepared.
Yeah, it's huge.
And if someone isn't prepared, it really gets under my skin. And but it's I don't know I think it speaks at least with my personality to the things that the things I actually really care about. If I really care about it, then I'll homework. But if I don't, I don't care, I don't like it, I'll push it off to the very last minute. But I do think it's beyond the idea of kind of the idea of just general school homework.
Yeah.
Just if you enter any scenario where you have to be accountable, you want to be as prepared as possible.
Totally.
Good. Pretty obvious statement, but
obvious, but you will be surprised, man. We'll be surprised. It's weird how that works out, huh? Like when we're younger, we don't want to do homework and we don't read. Then when we get older, we do our homework and we start reading. It's so what?
Well, I don't know how much reading we're doing. I've become such an inconsistent reader, but I do.
At least something.
I do, but it's not as much as I would like to.
Of course.
I have a queue in Audible right now.
Nice, dude. Hey, man, Audible counts. It's great. It's great to listen. It's different. It's great. It's something about the words just seep into your mind and body.
I love it, especially if you listen to any Obama's books. I just listen to Obama all day.
Oh, you're in.
Oh, it's great. Anytime the actual author reads it and they got a cool voice.
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell's another good one.
That's great.
He has a cool voice.
Yeah.
The worst is when you just get the generic narrator guy. I was listening to this one book and it was dude just speeding through stuff. I'm like, no. Wow. I feel like he's selling me something at a rally. I'm like, yo, dude, calm down. All right, can I get the author? All right, who understands the weight of his words?
Yeah.
Anyway, apologies.
No, totally. Yeah, the author. It feels so good when like the author that wrote the book is saying it, even if they're not the best at like reading out loud. It's like, dude, it's sick. Like, oh, he or she is saying that. That's great.
I think that's half the reason why I want to write a book, so I can do the audio book.
I would listen to that.
You have an audio book voice.
Oh, I do?
See?
See, Audible, that's what I meant.
I
think we're
into the forest.
There you go.
Yes.
I think we can see the future now.
That's right. Or can we hear the future?
We already hear.
You're welcome.
Dang.
Welcome to Movie Phone.
Dude, that'll be sick. Audible is huge. Alex is really huge on Audible. And I think he's going to get me back into it.
I'm down. Listen, if there's any people, any voice actor communities listening to this, holla at your boy. All right, I'm ready to take your money.
Obviously you thought about it, but like you writing a book.
I started writing a book a few years ago about race, and then I stopped, which is fine. I've come to learn over the years that things kind of happen when they're supposed to. And so I was writing for a few websites, Metal Sucks, my own blog, VH1.com, CreativeLive.com, for a few years. And I was actually to the point where I was a paid freelancer, and then music kind of took over again. So I do have an aptitude for writing, and I actually enjoy writing. it's funny to hear a lot of authors really kind of dread the process. Like I've never had a writer's block when like physically writing. I always feel like I have something to say.
Huh, that's awesome.
So, and I enjoyed the process. The only thing that's unfortunate, at least within internet spaces, the way people consume content has evolved really quickly, where articles, quick read articles, 1,000 words, 2,000 words were pretty popular. And then things really transferred really quickly to YouTube, vlogging. And so the same, maybe the type of content that would be in a written article is now just in a vlog or someone speaking to a camera.
Wow. Yeah, you really saw that happen. I think it was you got the VH1 gig 2015 because you wrote that article that went pretty much viral with you and God forbid and talking about that history. And you're a great writer. In my
Thank you.
opinion.
Well, the funny thing about that article was not with VH1. That was from my own website.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and I got a lot of, I think, credibility and I received a lot of good attention from stuff like that. So, and that stuff, especially at that time, and I think what's great about almost any of these mediums within the modern internet and social media is you get that immediate reaction, right? You release something, and then immediately it's like, boom, here are comments, here are text messages, here are people reaching out, and you get an instant sense of how things react, and that's something I really enjoyed about it. And I enjoyed having this idea of having an idea, and then boom, you can just do something. There's no middlemen. There's no, and that's honestly been very difficult, kind of in the years with Bad Wolves, where when you're in a band, now the things you say have an impact on something broader than yourself. So you have to edit yourself in ways where you wouldn't have to. And it's tough for me because I do have strong opinions. I do think people respect honesty.
Yes.
People, there's certain people, you have someone like Charles Barkley, for example, right? And people love Charles Barkley because they know when he says something, he's keeping it real. Because he'll say things that are not the nice thing or the popular thing, or it'll piss people off. And by the way, and he's not a troll, right? He's not actually manufacturing fake opinions just for the sole purpose of pissing people off. He actually just, hey, I think this, I might gonna catch flack for it, but who cares? And that's kind of a sacrifice that's been made in the last 4 years with Bad Wolves, and in the last 6 months with everything we're dealing with, having to kind of stay quiet. It sucks.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if you've always been that way, I've always just read something on the news sites about. But the thing is, when you Coyle says something, it definitely holds weight, and it's different from when someone else says something because you have experience writing, and when you say something, it's way more articulate and intelligent and well more thought out than maybe like someone else that does it. So what you say definitely holds more and more weight, and thankfully you had that experience with all that writing.
I try to.
It's cool.
Now you can just hear my little 10 tweet runs on little particular subject matters. That's where most of my writing takes place.
Yeah, you coming from writing, how is that? I mean, you were just saying how like the going from blogging to vlogging. How is that evolving now? Where?
Well, I mean, live streaming has obviously been, again, it's very similar to the podcast world, something that a lot of people like you and myself started to realize that during the pandemic that, well, we can't just rely on making records and touring. We have to really exert ourselves in these other spaces that are growing, and seeing how people have taken advantage of this, how they've understood that every element of all this stuff is part of your creative process, right? Like, doing a podcast can be just as creative as making an album.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to see. I've engaged with live streaming mainly through the Bad Wolves Patreon page, and kind of gone from the very basic element of it to trying to amp it up and getting some of the software, the eCam software, and making it a little more professional. And so it's been quite a growing experience, but I definitely have not taken advantage of it to the degree some of the people who have made it kind of like their day-to-day thing. But I think that's a great growth space and a different way to connect to fans or whatever your kind of avenue it is. And that's something I'm actually really hoping to kind of stick with. But, lately I've been, because, myself and some of the other guys in the band were just getting harassed so much online, we all kind of backed away for a while. And so it's been this very like slow dipping of the toes back in social media, because I think it's just so all consuming that it in a way it I think it breaks our brains a little bit.
It does. It's hard not to it's hard not to let that affect you, especially when you're talking about dealing with a band and another band member either coming in or going out, and there's like it's already hard enough with just the five of you, but then you throw on like a worldwide fan base. It's hard. It's fucking hard to like not to know what to listen to or what to not, or should you step away completely, or
it's a devil's bargain in that the more time and energy you spend on social media and online spaces, the more it will help your career. But the more you do it, the fucking crazier you get. And the more you have less of attention span, the more you get wrapped up in needing other people's approval, the more you get into the idea of I need to do something crazier to get people to pay attention. And when you have a incentive structure that revolves around, hey, you need to be on these platforms all day, every day, but it's slowly corroding your kind of spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being. I kind of equate it to like working in a coal mine, right? It's like, hey, I need to feed my family, but I'm also going to have the black lung, right? And we think about any dangerous job that will affect you physically or mentally for the rest of your life. And I kind of put it in that category that you can go deep down that rabbit hole, or maybe there's a certain category of human being that's able to kind of navigate it healthily. And I'm sure there are, but for me, it's always something where it feels like wading into the swamp. But when I'm pumped on it and like excited about it, I think can be very creative and really awesome. But it's tough, so I'm slowly wading back into the waters.
Slowly, yeah. It's the way you do it, and only you know how that makes you feel and think. It's tough to find that balance in there.
Yeah, and I'm jealous of maybe like an old school artist who doesn't really have to be on there, or maybe their assistant does it for them, and they can just go and just live their lives. I'm at the beach.
Yeah.
Is your phone? What's a phone?
Yeah.
These are my children.
Yeah.
His name is Spirit Warrior. Take him. He will bring you peace. And it's like, oh, great. Thank you, Spirit Warrior. You have a lovely child. I mean, I'm definitely jealous of those people.
It's always like you look at guys like Kendrick, are like, you have it beyond made. You did it.
Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah.
Is he on social media?
No.
Oh, he's not?
Fuck no.
Genius.
Damn, dude.
Or what's the opposite of that? When you have like Elon Musk, who apparently on paper is the richest guy in the world, but he's on Twitter like trolling people and shit posting. And I'm going, so that means there's no amount of money you can have or power or influence where you're still drawn to that shit, where you still want you still want that feedback. And that's also a little scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to think that deep down, even with successful people and like a lot of money, they're still humans, and they could get wild up on like seeing let's say a tweet like Elon Musk. You know, it's deep down, he's I mean, he's still a dude.
Yeah, I think it is a manifestation of the realization of power, that knowing you can post a picture or statement and millions of people will be affected by it. It must be, in the digital sense, like some king walking out his front door and waving to all the people. Like, it's kind of insane that people have direct access, individuals have direct access to all this people, and that must feel pretty powerful. That, wow, this amount of people hang on my every word. This amount of people, if I post a product, will go and buy it. This amount of people, that's so I think it's a form of kind of really tangible power. Now, I would say power over other people, but at least power to influence other people. And I'm sure that, and you and I, we have a presence on social media, but nothing of that stature, right? That feels outside the normal realm of just being a as I call it, metalcore famous.
Yeah. It's strange. And then who knows what's going to happen to, like the scene in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where that's going to evolve to. And it seems like you always hear about, if you're talking to, like, I don't know, Monty Connor or Gator, like you hear like the stories. Well, I mean, be around for 20 years, and then, or if you're Meshuggah and you enough bands rip you off, and then you just get big. But they're
If you're lucky.
But they're fucking incredible though. Yeah, where it's just you don't know where it's going.
Well, but I think that's half the battle is more often than not, if you're the type of individual who always wants to stay ahead of that curve, you can stay ahead of the curve. I mean, look at what someone like Travis Barker has done, essentially associating himself with all these different new school rappers and being kind of instrumental in the revitalization of pop punk with people like MGK and things like that. Rick Rubin is someone that I've always admired. And I remember reading an article, an interview, with him, maybe around 2007, 2008, or even before, where he essentially predicted the entire streaming revolution. Wow. And that basically, this is going to happen. This industry will demonstratively change. And he was ahead of that because in many ways it's his job, right? He's also, outside of being a producer, he's an entrepreneur and business owner and invested in these in these movements. Or even look at that what's his name, Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine getting, kind of going to the next phase of going from, hey, we're in the music business or the record label business to, well, now we're in tech, and going, okay, what is the next thing? And you basically, if you want to survive, you have to do that, because no matter how things are now, they're never just going to stay that way, right? So if you were the type of artist who said, well, I'm not going to embrace social media, or I'm not going to embrace streaming, or I'm not going to embrace Patreon, or whatever manifestation of how things have evolved, you will be left behind. So even if it's through gritted teeth, you're going to have to confront some of these things.
Totally.
And listen, I'm sure every now and again you have certain artists who go, I'm old school. If we're going to do that stuff, the assistant can do it, or the manager can do it, but that's a luxury, right? All of us don't have that luxury.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it kind of goes back to like sacrifice and hustle, where it's like you could take on some of these new opportunities and new ways things are evolving, and maybe you use them to your benefit. Hey, maybe the band could try this or try that. We could do a Patreon, we could do live streams, and you start a podcast, or you could. But there's other bands that don't have the luxury, that just don't do it, maybe because they're too old school.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think I think in many ways it's pretty healthy to be someone who goes, you know what I do? I make music, I go on tour, and when I'm not doing that, I'm like fishing, or I'm playing cards, or I'm cooking, or whatever their thing is, and the other things they're interested in have nothing to do with music and maybe connecting with fans, and I think that's perfectly healthy. But I think because of that rat race mentality of, hey, if we don't do these things, we're going to be broke. If we don't do these things, we're not going to have a fan base. We're not going to have whatever opportunities that we might be losing out by not sacrificing and hustling.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
so it's, but I think also what's kind of starting to change is that musicians are starting to see themselves more as individuals than just part of a greater whole, like a band.
Yeah.
So and that gets to these things like someone's individual social media or someone's individual streaming channel, where it becomes, well, I'm just going to be Chris Garza. I'm part of this really cool band, but I'm kind of my own brand or my own kind of thing. And that, in a way, even though there's maybe, I think maybe people might see some downsides, it makes us all like a little more self-accountable, a little more, hey, we all kind of have to manage our own situations, just because the band is not always going to be able to cover everything and pay all your bills and be the kind of one-stop shop. So I think it's healthy to diversify our business streams and interests and all of that. So and take charge of it, right? Don't just sit there and wait for the record label to send you an advance, right? Like, no, let's go out there and let's make things happen on our own. And I think it does reward the self-starters and the self-motivated.
Totally. I think you're one of those guys.
I'm trying. Like I said, it's all like right now. The other day, like last week, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start fucking around with this TikTok thing. And then I like opened it up. I posted a couple videos, and then you start scrolling, and you're like, oh, this isn't a joke. Like TikTok is like a language, language I don't know. So if I'm serious about it, you have to become a consumer of it to understand. Okay, this is how do I speak in their language, and so it's this. I can have an idea, but it's not as frivolous as I thought it really as it really was. So you have to take these things seriously and realize every minute you spend doing one thing is a minute you can't spend doing something else. So it's about investing that time as wisely as possible to get the best outcome. But I think you have to enjoy it, right? Like I don't think it would be necessarily beneficial for me to go, I'm gonna be TikTok guy, but I'm doing it because it's cool, not because doing it because it's trendy. And the thing I like about TikTok, despite not really knowing the medium yet, is that it does seem like a very creative medium. So that is cool. I think we haven't had a social media that was derived around music as much since MySpace. Yeah. So that's big. That's big for music. And we, Suicide Silence was one of those bands that capitalized off a boom of bands spreading organically on MySpace. And this is kind of version kind of 2.0, and maybe it's not a band thing, but at least for individual musicians or what have you. And I think that's exciting. And the fact that it's still kind of new. Yeah. And listen, I think we had this period kind of when you guys were coming out from the late aughts into the early 2010s where the record industry, right, was kind of dying. Yeah. And there was this rough period where record sales were going down, but streaming hadn't blown up yet. Yeah. Right. And now there's all this, you see, like all our friends' bands are like getting new gold records and platinum records because the streaming is causing all this flurry. And so there is money to be made there. There is growth. It's not like people ever stop listening to music. In some sense, maybe people are listening even to more music because it's more accessible, right? You don't got to wait to go to Best Buy to get the CD. And so it's this kind of cyclical thing where we go, oh, well, maybe music isn't that important to people. maybe it's just background music to some degree, but it
Yeah.
still feels like one song can kind of like blow up the earth for a month, right? One song comes out, WAP comes out, and it's
Boom.
everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, right? Like that Silk Sonic song. You hear that with Bruno Mars and
Never heard it.
oh my God, so good. Anderson .Paak, like, it's like a pop, it's like an old school like Motown style pop song, but I listen to that shit 5,000 times. Like a song is still powerful, and I think that's
It
cool.
is. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The essence of the song still hasn't lost its soul and power, I think. It's just different now. It's changing and different, Yeah, TikTok, dude, I did the same thing that you did. I'm going to start TikTok. It's like, but same thought process. Wait, the more you got to understand how they communicate in language, and it's just more minutes.
Yeah, listen, that's my humility.
Yeah.
Knowing when you're old and shot, like, yo, I'm at a touch, yo. And this shit happened quick. You're like, oh, I finally got my Instagram hashtag game down. And you just
That's me, dude.
like I
God.
just got a C- in Instagram, and then some new shit showed up. So
Yeah. But IG still going, man.
no, it's still probably the most active space. And the thing about Instagram, why people really love Instagram is because it's visual, so you don't got to be smart. You just got to look good, first off. And it's the easiest to do, right? Here's my picture, motherfucker. All right, I'm done.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
You got to think about that shit. I mean, even though, of course, the people who are like, that's their shit, they, of course, plan the photos and go, there's a whole science to it. I don't want to undermine the fact that you can become a billionaire doing that shit, because you can.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I mean, there's something about IG that where there's no age gap, so where everyone kind of gets it and can communicate in that way, and everyone kind of gets it,
For now. We'll see.
You're right. You're right.
Young people always, they migrate, right? It was like, there's basically no young people on Facebook now. They're done.
Oh, you're right.
They moved on. Thank God. It's a graveyard. No, it's not a graveyard. It's like a senior's home, but that's okay.
Right.
Or you got, people like me who I love, Twitter's my favorite, but probably equally or more toxic than any of the spaces, but I like it because it is thoughts and words and ideas and tangible news, a lot of comedy. So
Yeah, I don't have a Twitter, but I'm pretty shocked that it's still around, and it seems to be still thriving. People.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much money they make, but the thing about Twitter's almost, I think at this point, become like a utility where all the important politicians and reporters and kind of information vessels that make us know what's going on. Like, I was listening to New York Times podcast today talking about the violence in the Gaza Strip, and one of this Palestinian family, the girl says, yeah, I'm on Twitter every day because that's where information and news is. It's the quickest, right? So something happens, and I learned this during Hurricane Sandy back in 2013 when there was no gas, and I living in New Jersey, and I literally found a hashtag so I was like, how do you fucking find gas? And they would tell you when a gas station had gas, but I found it on Twitter. So Twitter to me is like looking at the Matrix. Like, it's just like the entire however many people communicating everything that's going on. Or like, that's how I remember you were watching TV during the Boston bomber, they were looking for those guys. And Twitter was ahead of the news because there'd be people on the ground tweeting,
wow.
There was this shootout here, and here's shots. And so it's like kind of tapping into the real human consciousness to some degree. But
Interesting.
But it's very ugly.
Yeah. I guess that maybe depending on what circle you're in and what, because there's different versions of Twitter. There's different, same. Gonna take a coffee break.
It's beer 30.
Getting some Modelo coffee.
That's right. Do they make like a coffee stout?
Probably do. Sick.
So I'm gonna show you that Bruno Mars song if we're done. You're gonna be one smiling motherfucker.
Dude, I bet it's awesome. He's heavy, dude. Bruno Mars is heavy.
Dude, he's the man. Like, he is pound for pound my favorite current pop star for me.
Passover, thank you. Appreciate that.
Ooh. Passover, not just a holiday.
It was Bruno Mars's first record. I've been jamming that. That's a good record.
Yeah, I really got into Bruno Mars in that song, Locked Out of Heaven. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Talk about a talented guy, man.
Miracle. Ooh.
There you go.
I wonder who his band is.
Dude, he's had the same dudes. They all look like they Cuban or some
No,
shit.
really?
You know how to shake their hips, man.
I didn't look
Yo,
that
they
up.
need to call me. All right, I'll be in that band. I'll dance. I'll do background vocals. I'll fucking
You never know.
get me one of those like Cuban like net shirts. You know what they be wearing? All right, I'll get that shit. Some loafers.
You ready? Cheers, Doc.
Cheers.
Thank you for being here, brother.
Might steal one of these
And
mugs.
A great,
Right?
a great. That's yours. A great combo. This past, transparently, these past few days, I listened to 3 of your records.
Whoa.
A God Forbid record, and I really actually sat and listened to Bad Wolves. I haven't done that, honestly.
Yeah.
I haven't.
He's like, yo, I thought about listening to your band, and then I just decided to carry on with my life.
As far as like a record, like front to back, just put on the headphones, crank it, went into the gym, and in the sauna, just like sweating and like listening. Oh shit! Oh my god! I haven't like you put like
Didn't I show you? Was it you or Alex? Who did I? It was at Knotfest.
it was Alex.
It was It must have been Alex. Okay, I must have showed him like a handful of songs before the first album came out. But yeah. Well, here's the thing with Bad Wolves though. I'm a contributor to Bad Wolves. I mean, the sound of the band was really designed by John, our drummer, and then this guy Max Karen who started the band, and Max still works with the band. So it's in many ways I had to learn how to write in the voice of Bad Wolves, because it wasn't my sound. Like, I joined the band, there was like a record done to some degree. Excuse me, the coffee is crazy around here. No, I had to kind of adjust to the style of what they were doing, and so like it wasn't until the second record that I wrote a song that ended up on the where I was like, I constructed songs kind of from the ground up that ended up on a record.
Nice.
So, but even for the majority of it, I wouldn't say it's like that's my sound, but I'm part of it, So Bad Wolves is it's like a collective thing. It's very interesting. Like, one thing I'll say this probably a million times in the next year is that I've learned that the band is much bigger than any one person. Like, there's so many, from the people in the band to our producers to some other songwriters that we work with to help. It really is like takes a village to make those songs what they are.
Yeah.
And it's cool and it's interesting and it's always humbling to try and, because there's a high bar, and that's kind of cool, and it's kind of pushed me to different levels of comprehension of what makes a song great, what makes it a hit, what makes it accessible, what all those things.
It's interesting because it sounds like you belong in that band.
Yeah, well,
like
there's riffs people go, oh, I know Doc wrote that riff, and it's like, nope, but I'll take credit for it.
Yeah. That's crazy. How do you do that?
Do what? Be in the band? They asked me to be in the band.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it sounds like, well, this is what I've been, saying about Bad Wolves for a while. Was like, oh, Doc and John are in a band. That's like guaranteed a solid foundation. to be in a band.
Yeah, and listen, and everyone, I mean, our guitar player Chris, every time
Chris is great too.
Every time Chris picks up a fucking guitar, he writes a sick ass riff. Every time.
Yeah.
And he's an insanely guitar player. Kyle, our bass player, is, I mean, he's one of the best bass players in metal, period. I mean, Devin Townsend called him to play in his band on one of the cruises. And even Kyle's been writing more, you know, and working on his production. And you know, Kyle did a bunch of vocals on the new record that's not out yet. And, you know, and even, you know, with the new situation, our brand new 5th member, yet to be announced, is a great songwriter too. So we're just in this position where every situation needs to have hierarchies, right? It can't be 5 captains on the ship.
Very true.
And for me, it's been a process of figuring out that interplay, seeing where I fit in. At first, kind of proving to the band and myself that I could write for the band where it made sense, but then also being kind of instrumental in help shaping other compositions as well. Even if it's not my song, just coming in and going, hey, you know, maybe this part can be a little like this, or maybe we need this, you know, and just being involved and kind of trying to make a mark that you can feel a part of it. Because to some degree, I can have a lot of distance, especially from the first record, because I really only chimed in on a handful of songs. Where you're like, oh, I'm in the band, I'm a part of it, I contributed, but it's not mine. I don't feel, you know, there's like, it's different because when you've been in a band where you're like the main writer, or you played all the stuff and you've been doing it since you were a teenager, you're like, this is my band, and it's you feel it a little more. But with Battles, there's a little more distance, you know, for that.
Interesting. Well, I think that takes a lot of self-awareness and understanding that it's about the band as a whole first, you know, and there is like there's a bigger picture in how can we be a team to make Bad Wolves the whole as a whole.
Well, listen, there's certain individuals that wanted to make it about credit. You know, I did this, you did that. It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, we're making a joke that there should be a card that says credit on it, so that someone could hold the credit card so they could claim credit over some shit.
That's a good one.
And as they say, failure was it? I'm sorry. Success has many fathers, and failure is an orphan. So, and I think with something like Bad Wolves, which at least in the rock world is a bit of a phenomenon, you definitely have that element of maybe people want to take credit or claim they had a you know, with a sole reason or whatever. But I'll say this: whomever deserves credit, I would never claim the majority of it. I feel very much like I was just a passenger on a particular ride that happened to have something really cool happen, and tried to just be a part of it. But I certainly would never go like, I'm not breaking my fucking arm, patting myself on the back. And I do think it was a great collective, great record label, great management company. You know, we had Zoltan from Five Finger, you know, helping put the whole project together, putting us on a bunch of tours. You know, we just had a lot of great fortune, you know, and so sitting around saying who deserves what, I don't think is really helpful exercise, unless you're trying to convince yourself of something.
Yeah.
You know,
the thing that's tied in with ego, but the unhealthy version of ego, you think?
Well, I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So the ego, we all need an ego, right? That's just part of the way our personalities are structured to essentially just deal with the world, right? Because our subconscious is filled with doubt and anxiety, that little voice telling you, you're not good enough, you're going to fail, you can't do whatever you're going to do. And then it's our ego that when we, you know, especially when we're young and we're going out there on stage and going like, I'm a badass, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, I'm a badass, and then you're rocking out, and you're like, and then everyone let's say everyone loves the show, and then your ego sees, oh shit, all those people really into it. Oh, maybe I am a badass.
Oh man, I am
damn, yo, I'm looking good in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? I did this, man. I'm great. They think I'm great, so I must be great. They go home and ain't no people cheering anymore, and they ain't looking around. And then where's the ego? Motherfucker gone. He's in the closet. And it's just you with your subconscious going, I guess I ain't shit. So you know,
true.
and I had that interplay. You know, I had very low self-esteem when I was younger and in high school and stuff like that. And the band filled a lot of those gaps, but it was superficial because it was all about getting validation from other people and feeding that ego who need to be told, you're great, you're cool, you're talented, whatever, you're special. And so I went through a process of only needing self-validation, you know, or trying. That's like an ideal, right? I mean, we're all susceptible to wanting someone to pat you on the head and tell you you're cute and you're funny and you're sexy and you're talented. But it's something we all have to confront. It doesn't go away. It's just about having a healthy relationship with your ego. And sometimes, like, you take the ego for a ride. You let it, whether that's the kind of cool guy at the bar who's like, you know, giving the double guns.
Yeah.
So I'll see you later, Tom. You know, or being the you know, part of being a rock star is like that you become separate from the human, because a rock star is a superhuman.
Yeah.
Right? They look cooler than you do. They drive a cooler car. They live in a better house. They have a hotter girlfriend. And so you have to be this character. And I think a lot of problems that comes with, and it's beyond rock music, of course. It could be anyone in any form of music, or an athlete or an actor or politician. Anyone who gets fame and money and all this attention, is sometimes they become the character, right? They can't. It's like if Gene Simmons couldn't take his makeup off, right? He's like, I am the guy. And that's when it becomes a problem. Like, I think we've seen some of that with, like, Marilyn Manson lately, all this shit come out with him, where I think at some point he just, instead of Brian Warner, he was like, I'm Marilyn Manson. Yeah. And that makes you be fucked up and make a lot of really fucked up decisions and hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because you're special. I'm not like normal people. I'm not accountable. I can do whatever I want. Yeah. Right? It doesn't mean deep down there's not a sensitive guy who was at one point was a cool person, but I say absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to subdue it, especially when you know it's happening. Like, oh, there's the ego coming up. We're having a conversation. I want to say my opinion, but knowing wait, this is not.
This is your show. You can say any opinion you want, I think.
Sure, but I mean, like, you know, when, like, you're having, like, let's say, a conversation with a band member. Mm-hmm. You know when you should say something that this is you being honest and yourself, but there's a difference between when it's your ego. Oh wait, I need to subdue this so I could say this, you know, and it's this constant, damn near impossible battle.
For you?
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Because you want to be like battling with listening to what someone else is saying, saying the right thing after they're done. Because it's like you want to say the right thing because you want to subdue the ego. I don't know if you've ever had a struggle with that.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
it sucks.
But like I said, I think we need it too. Because that's the ego. You take that when you go on stage and you like hold that guitar up and you're like, I'm the shit right now, right?
Yeah.
That's the ego. But it's kind of cool because you're like, you kind of have to believe it for that time period to sell the whole show.
Yeah.
Like, man, that dude really thinks he's a god for that however amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, and that feeling is very alluring, right? That's the drug, right? I just got to get back on stage and get that feeling. I mean, that feeling will take you. You'll play a great show, and you'll just be, for the whole rest of the night, you're like floating through the rest, you know, just like, you know, people see you at the bar after the show. Yo, man, you're the best. You're like, that's right. I am the best. I seen the show too. I was there. It was great. You know, it's and by the way, it's the same reason why you have like some actor who wants to be in a band, and because the thing is, like, if you're an actor, right, and you're like filming Captain America or some shit, like, dude, that shit's long hours, hard work. Ain't no crowd cheering for you. As you know, you're just working, right? It's only when you go on the red carpet or maybe you go to Walmart, maybe some people ask for it, but there's that element of a crowd of people screaming for you that kind of everyone wants.
Yeah.
Not everyone. I'm sure there's plenty of people who like have stage fright. They don't want that. But people who kind of seek that kind of experience, that everyone kind of wants to be a rock star, you know? And it's kind of this thing where it's something you can't really buy.
Yeah.
Right? Like think about how many, you know, you're a California guy. Like think about how many like rich kids that live somewhere in LA where they're like you know, Russian oligarch dad is trying to pay for like the girl to become the next Britney Spears and putting them with producers and all that. And they're spending millions of dollars and they can't make it happen. You know, that happens all the time. Like and when it happens organically, and I've heard this a couple of times recently where people who are more successful than me go, man, like, even God forbid, was not the biggest band in the world, but at least made a certain impact that was completely organic.
Yeah.
And that some people would have killed to get that, just that little bit of feeling. It's peculiar and strange. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it is a very kind of magical thing to try and attain and wield and maintain.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't buy it.
I just said that. Is there a fucking echo in here? Shit.
I'm trying to pump you up, dude.
Okay.
We're trying,
that's right.
Yo, the egos, dude.
You know what? You right. It's almost like you can't buy it.
The egos, man. Come on.
I want to say something. Shit. He was holding me back.
Oh man, it's a beautiful thing, man. And especially when you get older, it's like, man, like, we did that.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, but in a way, it's kind of like it's not you anymore, though. It's almost like it happened to someone else. You're like, it's like, we did that. Did we do that?
Yeah.
You know, because there's no, I mean, we could look at the videos and the YouTube and go down memory lane. But I've always been the mindset that it does no one any service to kind of try and rest on past accomplishments.
Totally.
I feel like for myself at least, you're only as good as the last song you made. You're only as good as the last album you made, the last show you performed. Mm-hmm. And, like it's like, okay, cool. You could lift 500 pounds 20 years ago, but how the muscles doing now? You know,
you're right. Totally.
You know, but even as like a musician, right? You ever like watch yourself on video of you playing some shit and you're like, damn, I was pretty good. I don't know if I can play that right now. I need those moments. But then there's also a ton of things I do now that I couldn't do then, right? It's a yin and yang.
It is constantly too. Yeah, I really like your mindset with it, and I'm very similar in that regard. Where it's like, was that me? Was that us? But like, you don't want to like this isn't you now. You know, like you don't want to like rest on like, oh, we did it, great, but now it's time to.
So I have this kind of dream, right, about if you had a time machine. One of the things I would do if I had a time machine was go back and see shows, right? Like I'm going 91. I'm going to the Metallica GNR Faith No More, right? I'm going.
Damn.
Okay? Because, or whatever, going to see whoever, Pantera in fucking 92 or whatever. Just because bands, sports teams, I'm even like an actor at a certain point or just anything like, if you go see Metallica in 86, mm-hmm. It's a living organism. So it will never be like that ever again. And that's why I think concerts are always going to be important, because seeing Metallica, and this was so great with Metallica over the pandemic, they put out all these concerts every week, Metallica Monday.
Yeah,
and
great.
it was like, oh, here's Metallica in 83, here's Metallica in 94, here's Metallica 2017. And every show is different.
Yeah.
Right? They're a different band in every show. They're different people at every show. And I think that's so cool that, that urgency, right? Do you ever think about shows that you wanted to go to that you missed when you were a kid? And you still to this day, you're like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
fuck, why didn't I go to that show? Or like,
oh, yeah.
dude,
yeah.
I didn't have enough money to go see Death play, like and Chuck Schuldiner died like 2 years after that. And it's like, and you go, and of course we didn't know he was going to die, but you're like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Could have saw Korn like on their first record. And my dad told me, I didn't even know who Korn was yet. My dad was like, this band Korn's playing. You know what? I was like, I don't know who that is. And I discovered him like a year later. But just little shit like that. You're like, But when I get the time machine, I'll go back and I'll check them out. Hopefully they don't suck, all right? I'm sure it was great.
Yeah, over here it was Pantera and Morbid Angel, Soulfly.
You didn't go?
Didn't go.
Oh, I went.
Oh,
That was the last.
It was,
Last tour, yeah. Unholy Alliance, Slayer.
Wow.
Oh, no. We said the one with Soulfly.
Yeah, Soulfly.
Okay, that wasn't the last one, but that was one of the last ones.
Yes, I know there was some confusion because I know like a Morbid Angel was on both those tours.
They were. That's why I thought that.
Yeah.
But I saw the one that was Pantera, Slayer, Static X, Scrape. When on the way home from this, I'm putting Scrape on, turning it up to 11.
Dude, I got jam Scrape.
With a K. And Morbid Angel.
With the M and a B.
I love that. That was one of my favorite things about the nu metal era was you could be a no-name ass nu metal band, right? You came out on Monday, right? You got your record deal with Universal on Friday. And that following Wednesday, you were on a giant tour with a tour bus. I'm like, the power and the advances. Yeah. And you go to a show and you're like, who are the Deadlights? Who are these bands? All right. And there's bands I have to like, you go, who the fuck is Twisted Method? Where did they get this tour bus from? You just want to know. There was this band called Boy Hits Car. Do you remember this band?
Yeah.
I remember we did this show. It was so weird. It was like them, us, and Shadows Fall. It was like this weird. It was in Dallas, Texas. It was just the dumbest. There was like some other nu metal bands, and you be in there, and all those bands like they'd have the sickest equipment, right? In cases because they got the big major label advance.
Oh, you always see that.
And you just be. I don't know, for some reason I always clocked their cases.
Yeah.
Like anytime I saw a band where their cabinets were in cases, I was like, yo. Because the cases cost more than the cabinets.
Yeah. Yeah,
And they had all their shit in racks, and you're like, God damn. I used to be so jealous.
Same, yeah. I remember when I saw Drop for a Cowboy with their cabs and cases, I'm like, fuck. They're fucking big.
You know what? When we weren't jealous of them though, when they had to carry them shits up some stairs.
Oh yeah.
Yo, a Mesa cabinet in a case, that shit broke a lot of backs and put a lot of money in chiropractors' fucking bank accounts. Just want to say that shit.
Dude, yeah. Oh, carrying those fucking.
You guys had Mesa cabs, right?
Yeah, they're heavy, dude.
In cases?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that. I hope you had a crew at that point.
How we got them pre-crew.
Okay, see. Broke a lot of backs. Who has the bad back in the band?
I think it's Mark.
Mark? Okay.
Yeah.
But at least he's thin though. Usually if you have a slight frame, it's better for your back. Me, I have a tough time keeping the weight off, so it's been rough on my back.
Dude, it's tough, man. We're both fucking fat, and now he's doing good, and I'm still eating pizza. It's all good, man.
So if I could eat pizza and look like you, I would partake.
It's tough, man. I just look at one, and you fucking wake up the next day, gain fucking 20 pounds.
That's how it goes.
God, age, man. Love it. I love it though, especially 35 felt good. Felt like experienced.
You are experienced.
All right.
Yeah, you guys got this tour coming up.
Yeah.
I'm excited about. See, the thing is, I don't know when we're going to be on tour, so I might be home. I have to check that LA show is sold out, so I'm going to have to call some people. I need VIP. Okay, I need parking. All All right, I need all access. All right,
Of course.
that's right. This is how I call people now.
Yeah.
It's a new iPhone. It goes in your pinky and your thumb, and it's pretty cool.
You just predicted the future. Who knows where it's going to go these days? The iPhones now just blow me away.
Yeah. Would you get the chip? Like, would you get the chip? So, like, instead of my joke, like, you just go like, dude, tap on your head and you calling people in your brain. Would you get the chip? That's a no.
Oh yeah, probably. I don't know.
You know what I want? Here's what I want. I want the chip. So you know how like when you go on Facebook or whatever, right? And it'll go, tell you their name, their location, their age. I want that in life, but just for like names, so that I don't ever have to remember anyone's name ever again. Like I just want their shit to show up. Like caller ID. I just see your name. Oh, Todd. They're like, how you know who I am? Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to, and it'll put the entire name tag business out of business.
There you go.
Staples they'll be closing across the country because we won't be able to sell name tags. But I'm a bad name rememberer.
Same. You gotta put what is it? I would put pictures to some people's faces.
You do that?
Yeah.
That's smart.
Sometimes you put like a picture. I remember I was talking to this older lady she worked at 7-Eleven. I always go, of course, like past midnight to get some ice cream when you're not supposed to be there. And her name was Ball Beer. I still remember it.
Ball Beer?
Yeah.
Is that her first name or last name?
First name.
Okay.
So I imagine her with a ball and a beer. So when I see her, hey, it was a Ball Beer. She'll like look up. I'm probably the first person that ever knew like her name. And every time I see her, like I see that image just fucking pops up. Boom.
But she didn't have a name tag?
She did, but I couldn't read it.
Okay. But most people, here's the problem. It ain't hard to remember someone who has the name Ball Beer. It's hard to remember Matt, Emily, John, Todd.
True.
The boring ass, corny, normal names.
You'll
okay.
remember Ball Beer. You'll remember that.
See, the problem is,
I'm an idiot.
But here's the problem. I have a catchy name. Okay? And people, when people remember my name, they don't just remember it. I get one of the, Doc, they want to let me know I remembered your cool ass name. And then they look at you. They give you the look like, okay, I remembered your cool ass name. What am I getting? And then you just like, yeah, thanks, man. Dap them up. All right, I gotta go. Or actually, see, here's my oldest trick in the book. All right, what you do is I have my girlfriend with me, and I'll introduce, hey, this is my girlfriend Jasmine, and then they have to fucking introduce themselves, and then I don't remember the name, and I put all the chips on them.
Whoa.
It's devious, right?
What? No, actually, that's smart.
No, smart. Or I think that is an element of caring when you still want to know the person's name.
I don't really listen. I want the chip.
Oh, never mind.
I want the chip. All right, listen. If people cared about names and remembering them, they'd find a happy medium. Because I say you have one group of people who are very boring. Oh, we're gonna name him William. Are you now? Wow, took a lot of effort for that one. The Bible, I assume. And then, my black people, they took it too far. They got too creative. All right? They took all the crayons and went to the playroom, and it's, Jadavion, Quanice. It's like, there's too much creativity. I need something right in the middle. All right? Between normal boring names and people like taking peyote and creating names out of those the letters that go on the fucking the magnetic letters, the alphabets that go on the refrigerator. What is scrambling? Don't. It should. No. All right. Get it together. All right. I just want something in the middle. Sorry, it was a rant, and I apologize to everyone who's listening.
It's good.
I think everyone probably just turned off the show right there.
No, we all need to hear that. It's very important.
There are people out there that
They're like, you insulted the Bible and black people. Thank you, Doc.
No, it's all love.
We're going to hear it in the comments. Comment in the comment section.
It's all love.
It's all. I think you can say that after anything. They're like, listen, Hitler had a point, but it's all love. And then it kind of erases everything.
Oh, when they
But that'll definitely get quoted. They'll just cut out of context.
oh, perfect. The classic movie cliche. It's only business.
It's not personal.
It's not personal.
Yeah, that you can basically say that after anything.
You say it to anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right.
Blame
Fuck.
capitalism. You know, if it wasn't for capitalism, you couldn't say that. But it's like, yo, man, you got to turn a profit, all right? That's why we had to burn down that village. Yeah, well, it was business.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so ignorant to like politics. I need to get at least somewhat.
No, you don't. Be happy. Be happy. All right. You're gonna live a lot longer. Okay. No, don't see me. I'm going the way. I'm trying to unlearn what I've learned. I'm trying to go the other way. It doesn't help, you know, because you know why? What's going on now? All the people angry at each other and yelling and storming the Capitol and shit.
Yeah.
It's not political. It's cultural. It's tribalism. It's all just finding things that poke your lizard brain and get an emotional reaction. Yeah. And so it's all war to get people to get on. I need to convince people of this, so I'm going to manipulate them and create this team. Team A, Team B. And we hate each other. Why? We do. They're evil. And that's all it is. So it's, in the last 4 or 5 years, you have a bunch of people who are not political and now all of a sudden have entered the space. But it's like, in a sense, it's you ever see one of those movies where someone wakes up with amnesia and they don't know who they are and they have no history? Mm-hmm. That's what these people are like. It's like nothing happened before 2015. And then they come in and they're like, listen, let me tell you what's going on. I went on this thing called the YouTube. And then they watched 8 YouTube videos and now they want to tell you about shit you've been studying for 20 years. Yeah. And they have no historical basis. So it's difficult to actually have reasonable recourse when everyone doesn't have common contextual historical reference points.
Yeah.
And because it's all around winning a culture war. Yeah. And so if me and you don't have a conversation, we're just talking, that's beautiful. But if I'm trying to like convince you of all my points almost as if I'm like a lawyer, right? Like if I'm a defense lawyer, I'm just going to say all the shit that helps my guy and hurts the prosecution. And the prosecution will do the exact opposite. But that's not the truth. That's technique to just win you over. Yeah. But we should not care about all that. We should care about the truth, not the well-crafted, argument that is, it's not in good faith. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
No, I like that.
That's right. Stay happy. Don't get involved. It's not gonna, it's just gonna get worse. So yeah, because I don't know. It's a rabbit hole. We don't want to.
Oh no. Yeah, it's that subject. That subject and religion is really tough. You can only have those conversations with like close friends that are truly open-minded. It's all good, but even then, who knows?
Really, I feel like, do we even need to talk about religion anymore? It's like, you're not going to convince anybody. That's why I don't really feel why it's worth talking about. Yeah. Because people generally feel how they feel. Mm-hmm. I don't feel a need to convince anyone differently of how they feel. If that works for you and you're not hurting anybody, have fun. Cool. Pretty easy. Yeah. But I am starting a religion, though, so.
Oh, okay. So
I'm sick of paying taxes,
Okay, so is this going to be so this is why you're on a podcast. So what do we got to plug?
What do we have to plug?
A new religion.
Listen, I haven't really put it together yet, but it's in the workshop phase.
Who cares? Sign me up.
Well, I think
I saw a YouTube clip.
Well, I think listen, if you want to make some money these days, okay, it will turn into religion, but it starts with a cult. Okay, so really, it's a cult. Everyone's in the cult business, all right, where you got to get everyone to basically only believe you, right, and distrust everyone, and then you get to bang all the ladies. So I guess I'd be at the top of this cult. right?
very
If it's
important
my
rule.
cult, right?
It's an important rule.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that'd be what was it? There was that movie I'm Not Here with Joaquin Phoenix. Remember this?
No.
Where he basically made his life a movie. This is where he went on. What was it? David Letterman.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where he like pretended he was gonna be a rapper and all this stuff, but I'm like, but it was all like a troll.
Yeah.
But maybe someone can do this where they're like, I'm gonna see if I can actually start a cult, and see if people will buy it. Maybe that'll be my new project.
Yeah. Well, at this point,
Seems like a lot of work though, because the problem is you start the cult as a joke, and then you get there and you're like, you know what? I'm kind of enjoying.
You're like, wow, people are actually following me.
That's right. I'm making a lot of money. All right. I'm getting, to bang all the ladies. Like, look, listen, I'm taking this job seriously, so I clearly have to go through with all this.
Yeah.
That's part of it. There's no cult where the one guy doesn't bang all the ladies. David Koresh did it.
It's not.
Right.
Sometimes the guys too.
It's something. Yeah.
happens.
Okay. I listen. It sounds reasonable. Okay.
What is it? Jonestown, that guy, he banged some guys as well.
Did he?
I
See,
think he did.
respect. He just went for it all. He wanted it all. He didn't want to leave anything on the table.
He wanted it all, and I definitely admire that.
It's that ego.
That's right.
It could have been the ego.
It's
Yeah.
the ego.
No. Right
Wow,
now.
See what happens when you have a big ego?
What's that?
See what happens when you have a big ego?
I mean, that's at the heart of it. But my obsession lately is like any documentary that has to deal with either cults or con men, and sometimes that can be the same story.
Oh wow.
But I'm really into that.
You on Netflix?
Anywhere, I don't care where
Anywhere?
they're at. I'll watch any of them, but that's my favorite ones.
You have any recommendations? From what Jerry Club tells me, you're pretty big on shows and movies.
Generation Hustle.
Generation
It's on
Hustle.
HBO Max. It's a
Generation Hustle, okay.
10-parter with each episode covers a different con man or con person.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's like, I'm a con person, sir.
Whoa. Dang.
But yeah, I love that stuff. It's the psychology behind it is fascinating.
It is. Like that. It's like, man, what are they thinking about?
Well, most of them. Hold on. I think it's actually, with regard to America at least, I think where the entrepreneurial mindset is all about fake it till you make it. So I think what it is a lot of people who have some natural talents. They don't start off meaning to be con artists. They try to do something legitimate, and then it just fails, and then they use lies and subterfuge and scams to kind of cover it up, and it becomes out of control. And then this can go on for years, and by the end of it, they've screwed over however many people and ripped off how many people, and they kind of look up. But I think people generally need to think that they're a good person. So I think people always rationalize and justify in their mind their actions to kind of come out of it and go, well, I didn't mean to do that. And it's fascinating. It's a fascinating subject matter.
It is that, and I was planning to bring this one up, and that, and like the serial killers, or that. I don't know why we're so drawn to that subject.
Well, the serial killers themselves are not that fascinating to me. Actually, I did watch the one about Son of Sam on Netflix.
Son of Sam. I've been hearing about that.
It's all right. This coffee is really making me burp a lot. This is crazy.
It's all good.
We're going to have to edit this out. We're going to edit this out, right?
Yeah.
All the burping. I feel like Rick and Morty over here.
No, we're
No, so-
going to crank it.
So the Son of Sam, yes, it's embarrassing. The Son of Sam one, what was interesting about that is that basically there's these theories that are more or less proven that he didn't do it on his own. And that there was a cult involved with that, like a satanic cult that
Yeah.
was connected to all these other cults. And that element of it is pretty fascinating. In general, I don't really find serial killers that interesting, but
Wow. So it's just the psychology of the con person.
yes.
Yeah.
But which, well, by the way, can also be a cult leader. They go hand in
both.
hand. The cult leaders are also con artists as well. So I guess it falls under that umbrella. But I'll watch any of those. The Bikram yoga one. I watched the what was that? is it Wild Summer, whatever that thing's called? Wild Country. Wild Country. That's a Netflix one. Love it.
Wild Country.
Good one.
Then we'll watch that one.
Yeah, there's one on WeWork. That's
WeWork.
Yeah.
What draws you to con artists?
I've known some really some in my life.
Do you find a common thread between them?
I almost hate to say some of this stuff because I don't want to. It honestly, it just seems like it's disproportionately, a lot of them seem to be adopted. So I think it's a lot of people, as young people, either were abused or did not get the love that they needed, and so they tend to value money and power and access, and maybe they didn't have the wherewithal to do those things legitimately. So they, like I said, they just kind of faked it till they make it, or they kind of have a fantasy, right? And it's this idea that a lot of people just believe, and a lot of the literature, self-help literature and things like that, all tell you can manifest whatever reality you want. Mm-hmm. And so if you just believe, and if you just, it's like, if you build it, they will come. Right. And so I think a lot of people realize that most people are generally pretty trusting, right? And so because of that, people don't walk around the day, think everyone that comes up to them is a liar. And so people use that general trusting nature of humanity to basically screw over the system and go, wait a second, everyone over here is playing by these rules, but I don't have to play by those rules. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of realize that, I can kind of just do my own thing, and it's just amazing what you can kind of get away with. So it's this interesting thing where I think you have some people over here who say, well, I want to be a good person and do the right things and follow the rules. And some people go, yeah, fuck the rules. That's just put in there by the slave masters. It's like that thing from Goodfellas where they started to look at normal people as like suckers. Mm-hmm. People who like work normal jobs, and because they're like, oh, they're
quote unquote good people.
Yeah, they're just sheep.
Follow the rules.
Yeah, they're just sheep. Like if you want to get ahead, you have to do whatever you have to do.
Right.
And to some degree, it's kind of true. Like I was thinking about this. Like look at hip hop, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Like Jay-Z, Biggie, like they talk about selling drugs. Like their whole music is about being criminals. Mm-hmm. Right up until the point that they made enough money from doing music where they didn't have to be a criminal. But it doesn't kind of undo that they felt the need to buck the system to get ahead, because they felt like in many of those situations, they felt like they didn't have any other options, right? Huh. But does it make it right? I don't know. There's this new guy, TJ, whatever the hell his name is, X6 or whatever. He's like does credit card scams and like identity theft and Instagram scams. And his whole shit is about scamming people. That's all his songs. And he teaches his fans how to be scam artists.
Whoa.
It's a bug out. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, how is he any different than NWA? They're killing people in their songs, and they're like, Ghetto Boys talking about raping people in songs, and what's the difference? It's just new. It's just a new kind of crime,
Just a different kind.
Is it similar to maybe like an Eminem, where maybe he's just talking about it?
No, this dude is one. You see this dude? It's like he looks like a sociopath. Like he's like there's like a screw missing. And he's definitely doing it.
And he has followers.
No, it's massive.
It's bad.
It's insane.
Wow.
He's not even a good rapper at all. But, I feel like I don't know if I've lost kind of the plot a little bit here, but anyway, but I'm fascinated with these people because I think it's important to understand the mindset so you don't get involved in any of these people, even though they've shown being screwed over by caught up in a scam has nothing to do with really your intelligence. It can happen to anyone. And it's it's I don't know. It's just fascinating to me, like the lengths people will go to, and a lot of times they don't get in trouble for it because there's, especially now in the internet age, there's so much fraud that there's literally not enough man hours for the police and the FBI to go after all these people. So you can just kind of get away with shit pretty easily.
Oh man.
Dude, these hackers got $5 million in Bitcoin from this power company they held them hostage.
Yeah.
Like the one of the pipelines for gas on the East Coast. And dude, this happens all the time, and they always get their money pretty much.
It's happening more often now.
and you're just
I
like,
know that.
dude, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of, you start finding about like bank robberies in the 80s, like those motherfuckers would rob like 20 banks and wouldn't get caught. Like,
whoa.
And now you just do it online.
Yeah, it's like crime is a wild thing. I've learned a lot about the justice system in the last few months. It's actually not that easy to get people who are doing crime.
Yeah.
Not as much as you think.
Yeah, it's the it's just the hours it takes to catch them.
Yeah,
It's pretty much impossible.
that's why people are bringing it back. That's why all these dudes want to conceal carry. There's they just want to bring it back to the old Western days, right?
Yeah.
Everyone just walks into town. It's like, Bill Marmaduke, you owe me $2. And you just shoot that motherfucker in the streets. They got these stand your ground laws in Florida. It's like if you feel like you're in danger, you can just shoot somebody.
Dang.
And you just get away with it. I'm like, that's just cowboy times. That's all that is. It's like, yo, nah, you gonna call the cops? Nope, got my shotgun. Gonna do a little vigilante justice out here. Say I was in danger.
Man.
I'm like, we're going. That's old school, for real old school.
Florida and what other state?
It's a bunch of states, maybe like 10, 12 states have
Texas
that.
is one of them, right?
I think so. I think it is, but there's some proposed legislation to roll it back. But I don't know. It's a pretty odd situation. By the way, I'm repeating shit I saw on John Oliver, so I know people looking at this probably think I look like a liberal cuck soy boy. But it's I'm not making I'm just saying it's a little strange. All right, y'all don't shoot me. All right.
No, it's good. I like that, even though it sucks that it's happening. I like when it's brought up and you say that, because then some people like myself need to be reminded. Oh yeah, that's out there, and maybe I should be, if you can, just be careful with whatever.
Listen, don't talk no shit in any of those states, because you will get shot for just looking crazy at somebody. Don't look at nobody, don't talk to anybody, and unless you too have a gun. All right. That's what it's gonna be. Everyone gonna have a gun. You're just gonna walk into a CVS and just come with your gun. All right, I'm gonna buy this gum. Don't nobody move, and they don't have a gun on you, and then you just put your ATM card in. All right, I'm leaving, and it's like you don't even rob the shit, but you
walk backwards.
Yeah, you come in with the gun, so everyone knows. There's nothing illegal happening. We're just gonna we're afraid of everyone all the time. All right. Which I don't know if it's exactly a healthy thing, but what do I know?
No, it's good to be aware of it. It kind of sucks that I'll be going out, having dinner with your girlfriend. I'm just sitting down. I'm like, right, where's the exits? Okay, there's one there and one there. It's just weird, sitting down, just trying to have a good day, and this is my thought process right now.
I've literally never thought that ever.
Oh,
knowing what you know, never thought about that.
I've never
Really?
thought. No, my girlfriend does, but I just don't think about that. I'm like, is that I grew up in the hood, all right?
Yeah.
I just don't think about that shit. I don't know.
But because you grew up in the hood, wouldn't you be more aware of that?
No, here's how it works for me. Is the street sense, it's like spidey sense. You just know when you're walking down the street, it's just a feeling.
Got it.
You're like, and that feeling, you just start, you put your hood up.
Something's about to go
And then
down.
you think about, who am I going to rob? Because if you look like you robbing people, they will probably not rob you.
Okay.
Okay? That's always been my thing. And if you have a Starbucks cup, get rid of it.
Oh.
Because people know if you have a Starbucks cup, you're of no threat. They're like, that dude's a punk over there. Look at him. He can't.
That hipster.
You can't
Dog.
drink lattes and fight.
Doc,
Right.
that's a great tip, man. As silly
Right.
as that might sound.
And if you see a tough looking dude
God.
and it coming your way, and he's got a Starbucks cup, you're safe. All right. Unless he listen to this and he knows that and he put
Uh-oh.
his pistol in the cup,
Oh God.
then you might have to worry about it. But that's these are my little theories. You know what? No, I feel like the likelihood something crazy is going to happen in the place you're at is so low that if it's going to happen, just get got. You were the 1 in a million person that happened to be caught in a drive-by shooting at Del Taco, and just take the bullet. All right.
Oh goodness.
Do it. It was
Take
just
it.
that's right. Okay. I mean, I guess if it was 1981 in like the Bronx during, the work, you really have to worry. But most of these situations, actually, you're around here. This is like a lot of gangs around here, right?
In Croda?
Yeah.
No, it's pretty.
It's not-
it's
Riverside.
Riverside as the more east you go on.
Okay.
On the
So I didn't know if it was
maybe.
particularly
Yes.
sketchy around here. If you have to worry, I don't know.
No, this is a pretty nice area. Obviously,
good.
most towns have their areas where I probably wouldn't walk down.
Yeah.
Past 10 p.m. on some streets around here, but it's fairly safe. But yeah, once you go down
Okay.
to over there,
I don't know. Listen, West Coast crime and like gang stuff is the strangest thing when you come from the East. Because East Coast, when you're in a fucked up place, it looks fucked up, right? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's like dirt on the ground, and like there's like the house is like missing a window, and there's like a truck flipped over, like there's grease, there's a Kennedy fried chicken and a check cashing place. You know where the bad places are. And on the West Coast, it will look like a nice neighborhood, and there's just thugs everywhere. And you're like, what? How do you mow the lawn and ready to kill people? Like, I don't understand. You need to put it together. I feel like it's just like it was too nice, and people are like, we really need to fuck this place up. All right,
funny.
someone needs to get shot around here to let them know we ain't punks, despite our well-crafted lawns and mortgages that are paid.
On time.
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a California thing, especially like San Bernardino County is the.
Yeah, I just wish that's what I would do. I just wish I was invincible for a day or a few days, like Superman. I just walk around and just shame people. Like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? Pull your pants up. Go to school. All right? what are you mad? He stepped on your foot. Who cares? Just go live your life. This is not. What are you doing, man? I would just do that, and then they'd shoot me and then bounce off me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, man, I'm Superman. You can't do nothing.
Yeah.
And that will make them change.
That's right. I wouldn't beat them up. I would just shame them. But then since they couldn't do anything to me physically, they'd have to listen.
Oh,
God.
God.
I don't know if it would work
It'd
though.
be a perfect world.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't listen to me. I would probably have to scare them.
If you could be a superhero for one day, it will be Superman.
No. If I could be a superhero, it would be the power I would want. I've never seen in any movie or comic book, which
Nice.
is I would have the power to make crazy people sane.
Whoa.
Like people with like mental, who are like talking to like the trees and shit. I would just come and like, zzz, and then they would be like, oh shit, thanks, bro. And then they go and like get their shit together. Like
Wow.
cure people with mental disabilities. That would be my power.
That's
I'd be like
amazing
Mother
power.
Teresa. Start wearing a turban. Then I could start a cult.
Oh God.
So it's always a twist, right?
There's.
Well, I'm just saying, I'd be a popular guy. That's all I'm saying. I'm pretty popular.
Oh my God.
That's a pretty cool superpower, man. I never heard that
Jeez.
before. in
Well,
my
think
life.
about all
That's dope.
superpowers, right? You be watching these movies or these comic books, and it's like every power they have is like their skin is granite, or they can like shoot. They always shoot some things that destroy things out of their hands, but no one ever shoots, chocolate sauce out of their hands. No one ever shoots sherbet. Or soap. It's like, yo, man, it's dirty right here. We need some soap. Soap, man. It's always something. Fire. ice, but it's never like helpful ice. It's always I'm gonna freeze a motherfucker. Like you
What
see
is
that?
helpful ice?
I mean, you got a drink.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just
You're
saying. Like,
cold, yeah.
Did you see that new Mortal Kombat terrible ass movie?
Oh, you didn't like it?
Oh, yeah.
Who would like it?
Okay.
It's a terrible movie.
It's funny. It's funny you bring it up. I already knew you were not gonna like that movie.
Why?
I already knew that.
Oh, tell us.
Dude,
All right.
that scene with Sub-Zero and Jax is sick.
No, it's not.
No.
Okay, so here's. I'm not even gonna address the whole movie.
Okay.
I'm just the scene where Jax, a tough guy from the video game, just gets his ass whooped instantaneously for no reason. He's like, "All right, guys, you keep it moving. I'ma stay back." This movie has a gun, right? Doesn't fire the gun once. Okay, and if you've played Mortal Kombat, I don't know if you guys know this, Sub-Zero is not Superman in the game. Like, it's not like, if I play Sub-Zero, I'm winning every match. He's on even par with anything. But they turned this motherfucker into God in the movie. And it's like, stop that, all right? You can't have all the ice. Ice can't solve all the problems. Like, they just turned him into Magneto, but with ice. So he's just destroying everyone. I'm like, I think this guy's too powerful. And then all the good guys do nothing but get their ass whooped for the entire first hour of the movie. And I'm like, this is hopeless. This dude, no, that movie was terrible. All right. He is not, make Sub-Zero a normal character. Right? Ice should be helpful, but it shouldn't be, I can control. He's like, he's Magneto and Storm and Iceman in one dude. All right. Get out of here with that damn shit. Everything, they need to stop making non-superhero movies superhero movies. Right? Every movie now, action movie is a superhero movie, right? John Wick
That's true.
is a superhero movie. Okay? John Wick cannot be killed, all right? This motherfucker killed 275 assassins in John Wick 2, all right? On a bum leg, eye all scratched up. I'm like, that's not how it works, all right? We've watched MMA, right? Dudes have a run, right? They whoop an ass, then they get their ass whooped, and then they kind of, sometimes they win, sometimes lose. This doesn't how it works. No, if you're shooting guns, law of averages, someone will shoot, you just gonna catch a few bullets. It's not how it works. You cannot just avoid, like, you're not just that good at evading bullets. There's no person that can, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, that's a superhero movie. Fast and Furious, that's a superhero movie. These motherfuckers jump cars off of mountains into tornadoes
And somehow make it alive.
and then land them on a tank that's in the ocean, and everyone's fine. And then when dudes die, they just come back to life anyway. Superhero movie.
Superhero movie. I didn't really think about that movie that way.
Yeah.
It is a superhero movie.
They're all superhero movies.
So you don't like John Wick's?
No, I like John Wick's.
Okay.
I even like the Fast and Furious movies. They're just all superhero movies.
Oh, okay.
I like Die Hard, where you're like, that dude is fucked up and he barely wins. All right.
Yeah.
I don't like.
You like then your movies to be a little more realistic.
Well, I just want a little variety. Can I have some that are realistic, some that are ridiculous? Can I have, it's not, I love action movies, but there's very little tension if the hero is invincible.
Got it.
It's true. There's got to be some vulnerability there,
You
right?
should
Exactly.
get into writing for movies.
Oh, I don't think I haven't started. All right. I'm working on it.
Get it. Get
Yeah.
into
Oh,
it.
so much time in the day, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Doc, I don't want to keep too much of your time, brother. It was awesome, and I think we'll probably gonna go out and get some more coffee.
Yeah, I love coffee.
Coffee and maybe a burrito. You're not for burrito?
I love food too.
Food,
Coffee.
pizza.
That's right. I need to check on my puppy's at home. Got to make sure she's okay.
Oh, of course.
Make sure she's not tearing up the house, which she might be, but we'll see. And I'm missing the Lakers game, so just understand.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's right. The play-in game right now, which you guys will know the answer to when this comes out. You'll know who I've won, but I don't know right now. So, hopefully LeBron didn't score 40 in the first quarter, and I missed that shit.
Dang.
Yeah, Chris, he missed that.
Damn, I missed I missed like half the game.
You
Damn.
did. Well, we appreciate your sacrifice and being here, and you couldn't see the Laker game. I apologize.
It's all right. I'm going to put it on right as soon as it's done. But do I have anything to plug? No, I don't really have anything to
what's up?
plug. Just follow me on the internets at .coyle. Bad Wolves Patreon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My show, the X-Men podcast. Check that out.
Check out the podcast.
I'm on another show called Last Words, which is on YouTube under The Pit, which is a website, and that's also a podcast as well. So I'm around, easy to find.
Cool. All right. Well, Doc, thank you, and until next time, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
brother.
it. Cheers, man.
Yes.
Woo. All right, everyone. Later.
Peace.